Yeah, Stephen, you're absolutely right when you call this a super fight. This is really the first time that two international champions of such fame have faced each other. We've got Pat, the Croatian sensation Miletic, UFC lightweight champion, and probably one of the hardest men to get out of his game plan in this sport, in the holds-barred fighting, taking on Jose Pele Landis, a free spirit and national hero in Brazil. What a fight. This is going to be a great matchup.
Tremendous. You know, on the undercard, Tim, we've got some great matchups, and one compelling matchup is going to be Rodrigo Ruas versus Roman Roitberg. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because Rodrigo Ruas is the nephew of great UFC champion Marco Ruas, who fought Maurice Smith in one of the Ultimate Fighting Championships. Maurice Smith is the trainer of his opponent, Roman Roitberg. And we also have a great matchup between George Pereira versus Extreme Challenge fighter Matt Hughes.
Yes, we have Matt Hughes representing the Miletic camp, being a very, very strong and aggressive wrestler, heavy striker, against Jorge Pereira, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt from Brazil. Look forward to very high excitement in this match this evening.
Brad Kohler, Bad Brad Kohler versus Renato Babalu. Brad Kohler has got big-time power, big-time strength, and he will face the undefeated record of Marco Ruas Vale Tudo specialist Renato Babalu. Minotauro Nogueira versus Jeremy Horn. Jeremy Horn's fought a lot in the Extreme Challenge, and he's also got UFC and Brazilian experience.
Yes, he does. Jeremy Horn had an incredible 1999 year. Once, as you mentioned, a UFC veteran, and he's going to have to go up against the very crafty Minotauro Nogueira, who was the 1999 Abu Dhabi finalist to represent Abu Dhabi in 2000, as well as the recent Rings A bracket winner. Look forward to a lot of excitement with two crafty fighters.
And then we have John Lewis versus Laverne Clark. John Lewis is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist. Also, he's a black belt under Gene LeBell versus the hard-punching professional boxer Laverne Clark, who's got Extreme Challenge experience.
Yeah, and some heavy hands at that. I tell you, this is going to be a great matchup between these two fighters.
The sport has evolved from Brazil. It started in Brazil back in the 1920s. Brazilian fighters have always had a mystique. Among the top people in Brazil is Jose Pele Landis, the IBC International Vale Tudo champion. He's got a big-time record of 39 wins and 3 losses. He's facing an American legend in Pat the Croatian sensation. This fight is going to be a tremendous battle because both men are near the prime of their career, and I think they both can stand up. They can both fight on the ground. I expect a lot of fireworks in this fight. Defense.
Offense, you know, Pele's going to bring this fight to Pat Miletic. He's going to try to force him out of his game plan. As we know, Pat is one of the hardest guys to take out of his game plan. We're really, really looking forward to this matchup.
Let's go to the ways there are to win in the octagon, Wade.
To conquer the cage, fights are won by submission, knockout, TKO. The fighter is unable to continue due to fatigue or injury or opponent's corner throwing in the towel.
This fight card is going to really rock. We've got so many tremendous matchups, really, really great matchups by promoter Jamie Levine. And we've also got a lot of celebrities from around the globe. We have 3 fighting organizations from Japan, the top 3 fighting organizations. We've got Akira Maeda from Rings. We've got the Shudo boys. We've got Rumina Sato. We've got Mr. Sakurai. We have Mr. Koichi Kawasaki from Pride. We have Big John McCarthy refereeing. We also have Maurice Smith, Mark Coleman. We have Marco Ruas. We have a plethora of stars at ringside.
Yes, we do, Stephen. We have a very, very exciting night. We have a very hot list of fighters. The card is absolutely stacked. I'm looking forward to a lot of excitement this evening. I've heard many fans going on about how this will be one of the biggest cards of the millennium as far as being the first biggest card of the new millennium. I'm very, very excited.
Absolutely. I tell you, if you take a look around in this crowd, the energy and excitement that's here, as well as the superstars of the sport that are here just to view these fights. I tell you, I've seen, you know, just in a breath here, I see Marcus Conan Silveira, I see Ted Williams, I see some of the biggest fighters in the game today. This is really going to rock. We're ready to get this on tonight. I'm excited.
Coming up, we've got the very first fight of the evening. Carl Schmidt out of New Orleans, Louisiana versus Henry Matamoros out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
I tell you, Henry Matamoros is a submission fighter. He's coming out of Evansville, Indiana. Does a lot of the hook and shoot events. Very, very tough competitor. Very tough to take out of the game. He's a strong fighter.
Yeah, and here we go with Carl Schmidt. Carl Schmidt is a Brazilian jiu-jitsu man with a wrestling background. He's a very, very hard hitter. He's got 3-0 is his record. 28 years old, 5 foot 10 inches. He's an excellent kickboxer, a hard kicker. He's got that stomp technique, and he's a reckless fighter, whatever that means. Of his 3 wins, he's got 2 submission victories and 1 from striking, which ended in a TKO.
I tell you, Stephen, I'm not sure what reckless means. Getting in this cage seems reckless in itself.
Here he comes, Henry Matamoros from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Henry is the hook and shoot champion. Trains under Master Jacare. He's 5 foot 9 inches tall. 27 years old. He's an all-around fighter, very rugged, good chin, excellent transitions. Henry had a really hard fight in Brazil in the IBC against a really good Thai boxer from the Shoot Box Academy. And let's go up now to TJ Thompson for the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the Forum in Rome, Georgia, are you ready for World Extreme Fighting? Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going platinum. 16 big bouts on the card tonight, brought to you by World Extreme Fighting, culminating with a big super bout between UFC lightweight champion Pat Miletich against Brazilian sensation Pele. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, also want to introduce the referees tonight. Refereeing the first part of the night, official referee for Extreme Challenge, Todd Fredrickson. The official World Extreme Fighting referee will be reffing bouts tonight, Mr. Kip Kohler, also president of North American Grappling Association, and special guest referee tonight, perhaps the most celebrated ref in No Holds Barred, Big John McCarthy. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for the first bout of the evening? The fighter to my left, wearing the black trunks, brings in a professional fighting record of 3 wins and 0 losses. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana. Please welcome Carl Schmidt. And ladies and gentlemen, the fighter on my right, wearing the red trunks trimmed in black, brings a professional fighting record in of 22 wins against only 4 losses. He's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Henry Matamoros. It will be on referee Todd Fredrickson's command and the bell, scheduled for 3 4-minute rounds with a 3-minute overtime.
Okay, here we go to kick it off. World Extreme Fighting 8 going platinum. First bout of the evening. Matamoros versus Schmidt. Oh!
I love it. Needed to be worked up anymore tonight, huh?
And here they go. Matamoros shoots out with a front kick. Swinging wild, Schmidt. Both these men are full of energy. And Matamoros going for the takedown. Schmidt trying to work that guillotine choke. Grappling for position. And down they go. Into the Matamoros on the bottom in the guard. It was a nice hip turn takedown by Schmidt.
Schmidt has Matamoros worked up against the cage there. He needs to turn his position out and see if he can work himself out of this.
Headbutts are not legal tonight, but virtually every other strike is.
Stay busy, guys.
Carl Schmidt looks to be in tremendous shape.
I tell you, both these fighters look in great shape, but Carl Schmidt's impressive physically, to say the least.
Unbelievable specimen. Now they're working a grappling duel. It looks like Matamoros is trying to turn. He's trying to turn and possibly go for.
Oh, I tell you, he's got that left arm of Matamoros trapped underneath, which opens up a lot of strikes on the open guard there. Matamoros has got a tough chin.
Good work. He's got a tough chin, but.
You see Matamoros working his closed guard, trying to keep Carl Schmidt in tight to him, trying to prevent from those heavy strikes that he was just receiving a minute ago.
Now, in a fight like this, where they're in the guard down on the ground, sometimes the crowd can get a little anxious, but what Matamoros can do is try and work one of his legs, his instep under the thigh of Schmidt and try and elevate and sweep.
Exactly, Stephen. And then at that point, he would reverse the position and then start working from the top and establishing a dominant position. And here we see some very heavy strikes throwing down on Matamoros.
Oh, and a attempted kick, it misses. Matamoros is up. That Carl Schmidt is strong. Doesn't look too winded. Nice check. Matamoros threw the low kick. Carl Schmidt defended.
I tell you, this fight's really come out of the gate going. These two fighters going at each other.
Both fighters are very, very game. And we see Carl Schmidt working some boxing and then throwing Matamoros down, but Matamoros countering with.
Now, Schmidt has got to watch out for that leg. That leg is in prime position to go for either a straight Achilles lock. He's got to be careful.
At this point, Carl Schmidt needs to spin into it.
And Matamoros looks like he's trying to spin into a knee bar, but Carl Schmidt is pulling it out. All the strikes. Oh, he hit the floor. Oh, nice stomp.
Nice stomp.
That bloodied up Matamoros.
Very aggressive.
I think there was a cut that opened up there.
Now it looks like he's trying to go for the knee bar, but he doesn't have position. Matamoros is taking a little bit of a beating at this point. Now, Carl Schmidt has got his back. He's got Matamoros. Matamoros is turtled up now.
Looks like Carl Schmidt has one hook in, and he's starting to secure the choke position, and as he takes the choke,
I think he's going to defend. Yes,
Henry's
Matamoros spins out. Oh, good defense.
reversing the position.
Good defense. But Carl Schmidt, unfortunately, is still on top.
I'm sorry, Stephen. We see Carl Schmidt here applying a side choke with one arm trapped.
He taps. He taps.
That's a submission.
What a spectacular victory for Carl Schmidt.
Nice.
Spectacular victory.
Incredible.
He's psyched. Amazing. He beat a good fighter in Henry Matamoros.
Nice win over an accomplished fighter. Nice win for Carl Schmidt.
Huge win. A huge win. Henry gets up slow.
Henry, come here. Henry, come here.
Matamoros may look like he may be a little lost as to where he's at, but he's got it together.
And now we go to the center of the ring for the official time with a very dapper T.J. Thompson, who's making his way up. That was a little bit of a surprising victory because Carl Schmidt was.
Where's he at?
He was a little bit of an unknown coming into this. Matamoros pretty much had a very big name in hook and shoot competition, which is a very reputable organization in the middle of the United States.
I'm very impressed with Carl Schmidt. He was able to seem to keep his composure when he was in that ankle lock and Henry was trying to work a knee bar, and he kept his composure.
Ladies and gentlemen, official time, 3 minutes, 31 seconds, round number 1. Side choke submission from Orleans, Louisiana, Carl Schmidt.
Good job.
An
That's a
excellent
big round of
victory.
applause for Henry Matamoros right there.
Well, I tell you, if that's any indication of the fights we're in for tonight, Stephen, we're in for a great show.
Okay, now here on the replay, we see that Matamoros is down, trying to throw the up kick, and he barely misses with that roundhouse kick to the head. Schmidt almost, he would have really hurt him, maybe knocked him out. But he tries another kick, misses again, and here's a strike. That's a hard strike. And
here we see Henry working some type of ankle lock or knee bar.
Carl Schmidt does a nice job here to bring his leg back and actually stomp.
Okay, now here it is. Carl Schmidt, psyched. This man's got a future. This man's got a future. A very impressive win. Okay, the next fight, Aaron Riley from Hook and Shoot from Cannelton, Indiana versus Colin O'Rourke from New York, New York. Oh, two little bulls in this one. O'Rourke. Look at that physique. 5'7", 175 pounds. This is his pro debut.
We have Colin O'Rourke coming out from the Renzo Gracie camp from out of New York.
At 5'7", 175 pounds, he's well put together.
He's well put together. It's like a miniature Kevin Randleman. Great submissions, great takedowns. I'll bet he can punch, too.
Well, coming out of Enzo's school, I think that he's going to be well prepared for this fight, Stephen.
And here he comes, Aaron Riley. Aaron Riley, 5'8", 176 pounds. Record of 3-0. Aaron Riley's a strong wrestler with a good chin, good conditioning. He's got some experience. Okay, now, tail of the tape. Aaron Riley is 19 years old, while O'Rourke is 32. Large disparity there. They're both about the same height. Riley 5'8", O'Rourke 5'7". Riley's 175 and 68-inch reach advantage, and O'Rourke is 175 pounds with a reach of 66 inches. And let's go up to T.J. Thompson for the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout will be for the World Extreme Fighting World Title. Fight here on my left, in the black trunks trimmed in white, fighting out of the Renzo Gracie School in New York City, New York. Please welcome Colin O'Rourke. And ladies and gentlemen, the fighter to my right in the red trunks trimmed in black. A professional fighting record of 11 wins against only 2 losses and 1 draw. He's from Cannelton, Indiana. Please welcome Aaron Riley. On Todd Frederickson's command.
Hold up that big Todd Frederickson, one of our lovely ring card girls, holding up the belt. There's Aaron Riley. Looks pretty relaxed. Oh, look how intense Mr. O'Rourke is.
This is a redemption match for Aaron Riley. He lost a very tough fight in Hawaii where he was outweighed by 30 pounds. So he's very excited about coming back and looking for some redemption with an opponent who is very similar in his weight.
Okay, and here they go.
Both fighters coming out to the center of the ring, and we see a
by Riley.
tackle.
Good defense by O'Rourke. Down
Riley
to the bottom.
throwing a wizard technique there. Working an open guard, standing back up.
Oh, nice knee.
Connecting with the knee. Both fighters in a wrestling tie-up position there.
And I think that Riley wants to do some Muay Thai here. He tried to tie clinch him, tried to knee him. He's looking for that shoot. He knows he's going to shoot, and they're punching here. Nothing landing.
We see another shoot there.
I think Aaron Riley's game plan tonight is going to try to keep this thing on top. Colin O'Rourke's an accomplished wrestler and accomplished grappler out of Enzo's academy, so it should be interesting to see how this goes.
We see Riley connecting with the right there a minute ago. Working another jab and a straight left.
Now, Riley's got quite a few titles. He's 7-1 in amateur kickboxing and 6-1 in amateur boxing, so I think you're right, Wade. I think he's going to try and keep it standing.
Stephen, you know, Aaron Riley, you said, is very young. Do you know his actual age?
19 years old.
19 years
Oh,
old.
nice shot, nice shot. Aaron Riley's on top, doing some damage. Nice left hand. He did some damage. I got to say that.
We see Aaron
passes the guard.
Passes the guard.
Nice pass to the guard.
Establishes a strong side mount position.
He's going for the strikes here. Aaron Riley landed some hard shots and stung Colin O'Rourke, but I think Colin's got a great chin. But I don't think he's ever been whacked like this. This is, oh, nice shot.
Aaron's doing a nice job here.
Aaron can't get sloppy because Colin can grab that arm and go into an arm bar.
We see Colin O'Rourke on the bottom working a half guard position here. One knee in the chest, trying to keep some distance there to prevent some of those strikes from Aaron.
Here, Todd Frederickson telling both guys to work this position, improve their positions.
Aaron stands back up, backs away from the fighter, and Todd stands both fighters back up.
And there's the restart by our referee.
I think this is Aaron's fight plan so far.
a little bit over halfway through the fight. And Aaron has got a good sprawl, which has been neutralizing so far. Oh, there's the jab. Oh! Ow!
Another great whizzer technique by Aaron Riley to reverse the position.
And Aaron has the half mount, or you could say that Colin has the half guard, depending on which way you like to look at it. Aaron is on top again, though. Both men relaxing, picking their next move.
Let's go, let's work, let's work. Can't just lay there, guys, let's go. Let's keep busy, come on.
Yeah, our referee, Todd Fredrickson, will be restarting him. And Aaron pops back up. He wants to stand up. He knows he wants to box. He wants to kickbox. Ooh, nice right hand.
Nice hit by Aaron Riley. Both fighters extremely tough, taking a lot of punishment.
I would have to say Aaron Riley is dishing out a little more than he's taking right now. He's looking for that knee. He's going to throw that left knee. Oh, O'Rourke is driving in hard, and he's got him down. He's got him down.
Hold him tight, Colin.
Aaron Riley sinks right into an inside guard here, trying to fight off the takedown. At this point, the cage can actually be to his advantage as he's able to position himself and brace off the cage. As long as he doesn't absorb any blows with his head tied up against the cage here, he's in good shape.
Let's go.
Exactly, Wade. At this point here, Colin O'Rourke has Aaron Riley pinched up against the fence, and if Colin applies enough pressure, this will prevent Aaron Riley from standing back up, and Colin O'Rourke can establish his game plan and fight plan on the ground.
And we've got about 10 seconds left in our round, and O'Rourke is in a tiny bit of an advantage. The round's almost over.
We see some short punches to the head of Aaron Riley to finish out the round.
And there it is, end of round one. For the most part, Aaron Riley had his way in that fight with strikes. A lot of them standing up. Landed a few good kicks, a few good punches.
Exactly right, Stephen.
You see Tito Ortiz leaning over and giving some water. I believe that's Tito Ortiz, isn't it?
That is Tito Ortiz.
That is Tito Ortiz.
Tito is giving some post-round one instructions. There's our lovely ring card girl. Tito Ortiz is an Ultimate Fighting champion star. Fought a tremendous fight against Frank Shamrock a couple months back in a losing effort, but a valiant effort. Gave Frank almost all he could handle. And Aaron looks pretty relaxed. And here we go with the replay. Aaron goes for the tie clutch and lands that left hand and knocks him down. And right hand, he just grounded pounds away. O'Rourke really hasn't been in this position. This is O'Rourke's pro debut, actually. Those left hands are landing with regularity, but O'Rourke is remaining composed. Nice left hand by O'Rourke. Okay, here we go, round two.
Very exciting crowd here this evening.
Extremely exciting. O'Rourke needs to shoot in and take him down. He can't stand with him.
I think Aaron Riley actually has the formula to prevent that takedown from Colin O'Rourke. He seems to have a really good counter to that by using his whizzer defense.
I think Riley, because he's got a lot of experience with 14 fights. Oh, nice takedown. He pulls his way in there. O'Rourke on top. Riley on the bottom. Now, O'Rourke, this is the first time we got to see him work in this position with Riley on the bottom.
Let's go, guys, gotta work some. If you're not punching, work position. Let's go. Let's go.
Nothing doing right now. Both men trying to be patient.
Colin O'Rourke passes the guard, establishes a side mount position on Aaron Riley.
This position is good for that right knee if he wants to crack Riley in the head.
There's a lot of possibilities here. You're absolutely right, Stephen.
1 minute in, round two of three. Oh, nice reversal by Aaron Riley. Now he has the side mount, elbow.
Nice short elbow to the head there. Aaron Riley seems to take advantage of every opportunity he gets to at least put a shot in there. Nice right knee.
Good right knee by Aaron Riley. Riley is in a good position to do some damage. If O'Rourke doesn't get out of this position quick, we could expect to see some blood.
Well, Stephen, you're absolutely right. And if he has some pins up against the cage here, it's also to O'Rourke's disadvantage. He needs to work away from this position, turn himself towards the center of the ring.
He can do volleyball between that right elbow and right knee, back and forth. That's a lot of strength right there by Colin O'Rourke. Riley should just let him stand up.
At this point, Aaron Riley seems to be the fresher fighter between the two. Wouldn't you agree, Steven?
Yeah, I would have to say it because Colin O'Rourke's got his mouth open. He looks like he's getting gassed. I know he's got a great physique, but sometimes people, when they have the big muscles like that, they do tend to tire.
You're absolutely right, Steven.
We've seen that happen with Mark Coleman and a few other of the really strong athletes. When they get into the later rounds, the excess muscles sometimes do become baggage.
Keep working, man. Let's go. Come on.
But you don't want to rule out a Renzo Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu man.
And I tell you, every time they come into the guard position, Colin O'Rourke is looking to secure one of the arms.
Now, Colin O'Rourke is trying that famous kick that Oleg Taktarov got knocked out by Renzo Gracie, his teacher.
And we see both fighters stand back up. Riley working a jab.
Riley's in control. Riley is a southpaw, meaning he's got his right foot forward, so if he throws a jab, it is the right jab. Nice left hand. Colin is loading up. You don't want to get hit by that punch.
Wait, at this point, it looks like Colin O'Rourke is catching a second win, wouldn't you believe?
I think he is. He actually has become the aggressor here in the second round.
Exactly. We show a nice takedown there by Colin O'Rourke.
He's got a tremendous amount of heart.
Let's go. Let's work.
Now he's in the half mount. Colin.
Let's go, guys. Can't just
And
lay
Aaron
there.
is just resting.
Last time from this position, Colin O'Rourke was able to pass the guard of Aaron Riley. Let's see if he's able to do so here.
Riley does have a bag of tricks.
I tell you, 19 years old with 11 professional fights. Is that how many
Let's
said
go,
he had,
guys. Let's
Steven?
go.
He's certainly got
Same
some
time for us.
experience.
Yeah, 11 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. He's actually got 14 fights.
14 fights.
Oh, couple little
Nice left hand by Aaron
Let's
Riley.
go.
Colin has to get busy. He's going to try and steal this round back. So far, I would have to say the judges would be scoring this for Aaron Riley. 5 seconds left.
Let's go, guys.
And
Gotta do
winding
something.
down.
Let's go.
And there it is, the end of round 2.
An incredible round, wouldn't you believe?
I think so. I think that Aaron established dominance for the first 2/3 of the round, but O'Rourke made a little bit of a comeback, Wade.
He surely did. He seemed to actually catch a second win, as Tim said earlier. Seemed to work for the takedown, work for the pass. And I felt like he had some effective strikes there. He may have caught Aaron on the feet for the first time as well. The fight swaying back a little bit back and forth, but I think Aaron's still in control of this fight at this point.
I think on points he does have the fight in control. We see Tito Ortiz giving him some instructions. Looks like he's telling him to do the knee. And here we are with the replay. And we see Colin O'Rourke being reversed from side mount
By Aaron Riley. Beautiful reversal.
to Aaron Riley in the side mount on top. Standing up, Aaron throws a couple punches, and O'Rourke ducks under and does a nice single leg takedown into Aaron Riley's guard on the back. Very nice. He countered that punch. Here we go with round 3, the third and final round.
Let's go. Are you ready? Are you ready?
So here we go. Both men have exhibited tremendous heart in this fight.
Colin's got to be careful turning his back to Aaron Riley like that. That's a big mistake.
He could get kicked or he could get rear-mounted.
They go back down to the ground again with Colin O'Rourke passing the full guard. Now in Aaron Riley's half guard.
There's a nice half sweep by Riley. Riley's got good leg work from the bottom, a couple little elbows to the top of the head.
Aaron Riley working his closed guard, working some short strikes. Colin O'Rourke landing a big left there to the face of Riley.
Let's go, guys. Let's do something. Triangle's armbar, pass that guard. I'll stand back up. Let's go.
Our referee is imploring them to fight because he will restart them standing if they don't get busy on the ground. Both men have spent an incredible amount of energy in the first 2 rounds.
It's in your corners.
And we see a guard pass attempt by Colin O'Rourke.
But Riley catches, almost got him in a triangle, but now O'Rourke has got side mount, and Riley's getting up. He's almost got up. Great little battle there, Tim.
Exactly, Steven. Great little battle. Colin O'Rourke doing very well, fending off the submissions and reversals by Aaron Riley. Aaron Riley using the cage in his feet to spin him back where he's head center to the octagon.
Yeah, Tim, I think Aaron has enough experience to know that he doesn't want his head sitting on that cage for Colin O'Rourke to take it off.
Not against a wrestler like Colin O'Rourke, you're absolutely right. It would be into his favor to face his head center back to the octagon. There we see
Aaron Riley is working hard, and he's got the top position, mounted position. Colin O'Rourke could potentially be in trouble here.
I'm sorry, Stephen.
This is not a good position. I picture those elbows landing there. Oh, good defense by O'Rourke.
I think what we saw there, Stephen, was an example of Aaron Riley's cage experience and using the cage for.
There we see a beautiful mount escape by Colin O'Rourke.
Okay, where we started standing. I expect Aaron to drop a good punch. Oh, almost had a headbutt there.
Beautiful combination by Colin
He's
O'Rourke.
got him in a tied clinch. I expect a knee to the chin, and he's
Another big left hook and uppercut.
That was great. Colin O'Rourke punched his way out of the tie clinch. That is one of the ways out of the Muay Thai clinch. When the fighter grabs you around the neck, he's going to throw the knee to your ribs. Ooh, nice knee to the head. And another double leg takedown. That seems to be Mr. O'Rourke's forte, is those single and double leg takedown, Wade.
I tell you, he's exhibiting the plethora of takedown attempts here tonight. He's been pretty effective. Aaron started off the match able to counter his takedown attempts, but he's been pretty successful as of late. Although every time he takes him down, Riley seems to do a good job of pulling right into the guard.
You know, it's as if he takes him down, Riley's on the bottom, Riley pauses, relaxes, then makes his move, and then reverses the position.
Exactly. Aaron Riley has has just proven how patient of a fighter he is, and he hasn't gotten nervous or frantic in those positions by Colin O'Rourke. So
I would have to say that Aaron.
Stop right there. Go to your corners, turn around, come back out.
Okay, they're going to restart. I wonder if we're going to stop the time here. We've got 30 seconds left in the round, and Colin O'Rourke is taking his time. They're both winded. 20 seconds left.
These next 20 seconds are so important.
They're looking to land a big shot. Aaron sprawls.
Nice sprawl.
Defensive tackle. I expect a knee to come any second. There's one. 5 seconds left. Another knee. And a sprawl again.
One last
there
shoot
it is.
attempt.
Okay.
Beautiful fight.
Great fight.
Great fight.
Great fight between.
You know, a lot of heart between those two competitors.
I would have to say, win, lose, or draw, both men deserve a lot of credit in this fight. Colin O'Rourke came and he rumbled. He looked like he got out of gas in the first round, caught his second win. Aaron Riley, to me, could prove to be a prodigy, Wade.
I tell you, Aaron came out and established himself early in this fight. Colin O'Rourke looked a little lost. Entering the second round, Aaron Riley came out and started to establish himself again. Colin did a nice job then, ascertaining the takedown, working towards the mount. I tell you, I think it just came down to a matter of experience for Aaron Riley, and I agree. He's a force to be reckoned with in no holds barred.
Okay, here we go to the replay. Now, Aaron's got him in a Muay Thai clinch, but Colin punches his way out with a couple uppercuts. They're glancing blows. Aaron tries to get him back in there to try to initiate the knee attack. Lands one knee, but Colin pretty much defends. Now watch this takedown. It goes for the single, then the double leg, and down into Aaron Riley's guard. It's hard to stay on your feet with Colin O'Rourke. It's like a miniature Kevin Randleman. And let's go up to T.J. Thompson for the official verdict. Seems to be some discussion about the decision. The judges are tallying the scores, and they're tallying them again, and Mr. T.J. Thompson is putting it finally together. I think both these men have a future in World Extreme Fighting. And this was for a title.
That's correct. This was for a belt tonight. I believe this is for a super fight belt.
Yeah, this is for the World Extreme Fighting World Championship. And we're going to present that belt to the winner. And we're waiting for the decision. Aaron? All right. Aaron looked like he took a couple shots. What's your first name?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a majority decision. Judge number 3 scores about 29-29. Judge number 1 and 2 score the bout 30-29 for the winner, 175-pound class world champion, Aaron Riley.
A tremendous.
Aaron Riley, the president of World Extreme Fighting, Mr. Jamie Levine.
A tremendous win for Aaron Riley. He fought a tough guy. Colin O'Rourke had a pro debut, but he fought like he'd had 5 or 10 fights under his belt.
Absolutely, Stephen. He came and gave a good showing. And I tell you, as I said a couple times, I think it just came down, as we get a good look at the belt there, it just came down to Aaron Riley's experience.
That was a great fight. Aaron Riley, now he's got another belt added to his collection.
At 19 years old, I hasten to see what titles he's going to have under his belt in a few years.
This man can only go up from here. And we're going to go Rodrigo Ruas from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil versus Roman Reutberg from Bellevue, Washington. This is an interesting matchup, fellas. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, it's very interesting because we have Rodrigo Ruas coming from the Marco Ruas camp, and we have Roman Reutberg, our Maurice Smith protege there. And there we see Rodrigo Ruas coming out with a very intense look on his face.
5'9", 181 pounds. It's his pro debut. But I would have to say, with Marco Ruas in your corner and wrestling coach Roberto Leiton right there, I think that experience, Wade, really helps a fighter in his pro debut.
Absolutely. When you have such a strong corner and strong coaching, it really can help set the tone of the fight for you.
He's an excellent striker, as we would know, coming from Marco Ruas. Great knees and elbows, powerful leg kicks. I would have to say, with Roberto Leiton, who is behind him right now, lucha libre specialist from Rio de Janeiro, he has got to have some great grappling skills as well. Now let's have a look at his opponent. He's a Maurice Smith protege, Roman Reutberg. And he's from Bellevue, Washington. 5'11", 200 pounds.
Coming out with Roman, we see 2 UFC veterans, Maurice Smith, who we heard from earlier, as well as Tyoshi Kosaka.
Great leg kicks, submissions, and a strong striker. I have heard that Maurice Smith says that Roman hurts him in training with low kicks. There's Maurice there. Maurice Smith changed the face of the sport when he beat Mark Coleman. Okay, here's the tail of the tape. Ruas is 22 years old, 5'9", 181 pounds with a reach of 71 inches, where Reutberg, close in age at 23, and height is 5'11", 200 pounds. Now that's a 19-pound difference and a 73.5-inch reach. And let's go up to TJ Thompson with the introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for more? The fighter on my left wearing the black trunks from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, making his pro fighting debut, cornered by his cousin, the Brazilian king of the streets, Marco Ruas. Please welcome Rodrigo Ruas.
There's Marco there.
And ladies and gentlemen, the fighter on my right, fighting out of Bellevue, Washington, with a pro record of 5 wins and 0 losses, cornered by former UFC heavyweight champion Maurice Smith. Please welcome Roman Reutberg. On Todd Fredrickson's command.
Mr. Todd Fredrickson. There's Roman Reutberg.
I tell you, Stephen, Roman Reutberg made an impressive World Extreme Fighting debut last fight at WEF 7 in New Orleans, Louisiana, taking out Curtis McWalters by submission after a plethora of leg kicks landed down. He's an excellent striker, excellent kicker, as well as his Ruas. This should be an interesting matchup.
I expect a lot of stand-up in this fight, Tim.
Yes, actually, you know, both fighters coming from a stand-up background. I expect a lot of firecrackers here.
There's that low
both
kick.
fighters.
There's that low kick. Reutberg is coming right out after him, and they're into the clinch here. Nice sweep. Little trip takedown. Reutberg is very relaxed, grinding away with that left hand to Ruas's ribs. But Ruas doesn't seem worried. He's just going to wait. One thing about Ruas Vale Tudo fighters, they are very patient. Marco Ruas has trained Alexander Barros. He's trained Renato Babalu, who's fighting later tonight, and also the Ultimate Fighting Championship top contender, Pedro Hizo. That's a great camp.
A lot of great fighters coming out under Marco Ruas, and Marco Ruas is no slouch himself.
Oh, no, he's out with some knee problems. He's going to have surgery a little bit later this year.
Marco Ruas is passed to the half mount, or is in the half guard of Roman Royberg, whichever way you like to look at it here.
Let's go, guys.
This fight's scheduled for 12 minutes with 3 4-minute rounds.
Now, as I said before, Ruas, even though it's his pro debut, is fighting as if he had 5 or 10 fights. He's fighting with the experience and composure of a seasoned professional. He's going for a little key lock action here. Sometimes they call for an Americana. He's got it.
And I believe he does have it.
He does have it. Royberg has got to spin out of it.
There seems to be a lot of upper body strength by Rodrigo there. And we see Roman covering the mouth of Ruas from the bottom and reverses the position.
Excellent reversal. He used the smother technique. He got Ruas out of his game plan, and then he reversed. Now he's got this side, the half mount.
That was some great composure by Roman.
But Ruas now has a loose guard. He went from half guard to guard.
Ruas excuse me, I'm sorry, Stephen. Ruas has an open guard there. It looks like he has one leg on the inside, looking for possibly a reversal or a tip. As there we kind of see an elevator there trying to reverse the position.
He's got good defense against the strikes. Some punches by Roman, but they didn't really land. Go back up. Now we're going to see some banging here, right? There we go, throw low kicks.
Very strong roundhouse kick to the midsection of Rodrigo.
Nice low kick by Rodrigo. Good jab by Roman back into the clinch. Expect to see some knees in this position.
And once again, they go back down.
It's amazing, Wade. It doesn't seem like Roman even defends the tackle at all.
No, I think he's very comfortable going to the mat here. I think, you know, coming out of Maurice Smith's camp, working with TK as much as he does, I'm sure he's very comfortable on the ground.
You know, like father, like son, like trainer, like student, Maurice Smith really never was a good defender of the shoot or the tackle himself. He usually just fell back in the guard and just worked from the bottom. When he worked with Coleman, when he fought Tank Abbott and some of the other fighters, he didn't really try to defend the tackle as much. I think Roman, being a chip-off-wheel block, is very similar in that regard. There's Marco Ruas.
Well, Mo Smith, typically in his previous fights, when it's gone to the mat, he's gone to the half guard, looked to stall the fight out and come back to the feet where he's most effective.
Another beautiful reversal by Roman Royberg there. Winding up in the guard again of Rodrigo.
Ruas has got good defense on the ground. He knows how to get the guard. He knows how to curl those knees up and pop them around the waist.
25 seconds.
He knows how to get him into the elevator position. Royberg, now, this is sort of a difficult round to score. Royberg has been kind of more aggressive so far.
10 seconds.
But close to the fence. Now, here's where experience helps. Ruas could be in a little bit of trouble if Royberg exploits this. Okay, there we go, into the round. And Royberg helps him up, showing good sportsmanship. Back to his corner. And Mo hanging off the fence. That's an interesting position. Ruas, same thing.
I tell you, nice round by both fighters. Ruas able to gain both takedowns during that bout. Royberg able to reverse both times. Royberg worked at the end of that round towards getting Ruas tied up on the fence. I think he was going to look to unload on some strikes. Unfortunately, for his corner, the time ran out during the round.
I think both fighters are very well schooled in standing and ground fighting positions. They neutralized each other a couple times. It was sort of like a little bit of a chess match. We go to a replay. We've got the smother technique by Royberg getting Ruas out of that key lock, and then he reverses and then pops him over into the guard. That was a great little move. That's total Maurice Smith coming out in his student, Roman Royberg. And here they are standing, and it's a nice little takedown and a little squeeze and a little trip, and boom, down on the ground, Ruas on top. Here we go with round 2. Royberg versus Ruas. Royberg having the black trunks with white trim, and Ruas having the solid black trunks.
Some fast hands there by both fighters. Both fighters exchanging a left and a right combination. And once again, Roman tying up the head.
Nice short little left hook by Ruas, but then Roman answered with a tie clinch and a little knee to the body. Now this is a stalemate position on the fence. Ruas is not in trouble. He's trying for that squeeze takedown. He's trying to take him over, and there it is. Another takedown by Ruas into the guard of Royberg. But Royberg is working that guillotine. I don't think he's got a chance of getting it. Ruas knows how to defend that. A little bit of a stalemate on the ground. Trying to work out. Royberg with a couple little taps to the ear. It is possible to generate a little bit of power from the bottom in the guard position to the ear.
You're absolutely right, Stephen. That's an effective strike. Although it's not a knockout punch, it's a battle of attrition.
Ruas trying to work that elbow into the fight.
Royberg's guard is pretty accomplished.
He's using a lot of side leverage, side movement from the guard. He's curling up.
Roman has a very active guard, as you mentioned, Wade. Here we see, you know, him bringing his left knee in, stuffing it into the chest area of Rodrigo, trying to prevent, you know, some strikes and create some distance there. And, you know, we see Roman going from an open guard to a closed guard, and at this point here, an open guard, and it's deciding to stand back up, take the fight back to their feet.
And they're back to standing. Nice three-punch combination by Roman Royberg, and a sweep takedown, and a reverse by Ruas. Beautiful sequence. Oh,
Roman locking in an armbar there.
He's going for the leg. What a beautiful sequence of action. That's going to make the highlight reel. That was beautiful. Roman Royberg came in with a 1-2-3. Ruas shot for the takedown. That was good. Oh, nice elbows by Ruas. It looked like Royberg had that armbar.
I tell you, Ruas did a nice job to escape that. Like, I'm anxious to see the replay.
Yeah, it looked like he had the armbar. If it would have been a less accomplished referee, it would have looked like he tapped. But
we'll have to wait to see that one on replay. It was a good exchange.
That was a very fast exchange for them to roll from position to position. And back to a little bit of stalemate. These guys are both strategists. No, neither one of them have gotten lumped up from strikes. And back to standing. Oh, nice low kick standing up. Good move by Royberg. He stood up when Ruas was standing up and cracked him with a low kick right below the thigh. Goes for the high kick.
Nice high roundhouse by Roman. Locking up there, going back down to the ground once again in Roman's guard.
I tell you, as you said earlier, Stephen, Royberg doesn't even appear to defend the takedown from Ruas.
No, he doesn't, because he's so confident on the ground. It depends on how the judges are scoring the takedowns.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Referee imploring them to fight their way out of it. Real good technical match here. We've seen a lot of good things in this fight. We've seen punches, kicks, knees, elbows, guard, mount, reversals. I would have to say that Royberg has landed the harder shots, and in that little sequence almost got that armbar, so he might be inching ahead just barely.
I tell you, from the bottom here in the guard, Roman Royberg's been very active in taking the strikes to Ruas from the bottom. He's creating small distances, creating small jabs, punches, etc.
Absolutely, Wade.
Yeah, this has been a real textbook fight. If you want to see the repertoire of a no-holds-barred fighter, this fight, both men are relaxed. And here we go with a replay. Now here comes a real nice punch combination, good left hook, and then we see Ruas, nice sweep.
Nice leg trip.
And there it is, a nice little elevator by Ruas.
Beautiful elevator.
But Royberg goes for that armbar, and Ruas pops out, gets out of control, and then looked like he was going to go for a knee bar there, but Royberg got his way out of it. Nice sequence.
Very, very nice sequence. Very technical sequence.
That was so technical. It was almost as if they had choreographed it, but I know they don't, because these are real fights, unlike, you know, professional wrestling or something. That sequence was a classic. Left, right, left, takedown, armbar attempt, knee bar attempt, back into guard. Beautiful.
Wade, going into round 3, how do you see the fight thus far?
I tell you, I have to say that Royberg has imposed his will pretty much on Rodrigo Ruas.
You're absolutely right.
But Royberg came out and landed that front kick right to the face of Ruas. Good punch to Ruas' face.
Beautiful display of boxing there.
Royberg is coming right out with some really good kickboxing skills. came out right out with that left high kick, and then cracked him with a right front kick to the face. He's got him in a headlock position.
There we see Rodrigo working the back of Roman, and he might be in trouble here.
But that elbow might come flying up there. If he throws that right spiraling elbow, there's a foot stomp.
Rodrigo needs to do exactly what he's doing, keeping his head glued to the back of Roman to help prevent, you know.
There's the elbow. There's those stomps. Marco Ruas, in some ways, was the one who brought those stomps to the American public in UFC 7. But now Royberg is using them on Horace's student.
You see Rodrigo there trying to work a takedown.
Royberg's going to spin that elbow and face him. I expect him to spin and face any second now.
Tim, do you think he'll try to get the throat of Royberg from the rear here?
Actually, I do. If he can establish it and establish it in a quick pace, most definitely that would be what he would want to do, and he does successfully take Roman down.
Nice rolling takedown by Roman Ruas, Rodrigo Ruas. Roman is down on the ground on the bottom of the side mount.
Ruas had many possibilities there once he had the back of Roman. There's many things he could, you know, attempt to take down and work a choke from that position. There was just endless possibilities, but unfortunately it just didn't work out in that way.
Yeah, one thing, having a 19-pound weight disadvantage, Ruas probably wouldn't have tried a suplex. Nice
Beautiful escape again once by Roman. I believe that's the third time that we've seen Roman keep his composure and reverse the position to his favor once again.
I think sweat has a lot to do with this because the bodies are very slippery. And it's hard. Oh, nice
right hand.
Beautiful right hand by Roman Royberg. That rocked Ruas. Ruas flashes back with his own left hook. I expect possibly a knockdown. These guys are going to trade some bombs here. They want to establish dominance. They know it's a close fight. They know they've got to eke out. Ruas is going back. Roman goes to the body with the right hand.
I'll tell you, Stephen, I'm impressed with Roman Royberg.
So am I. Very patient fighter. Great working from the guard.
Roman looking very comfortable there as usual.
Okay, we're approaching 15 seconds left in the third and final round. There's TK and Mo looking on. I think they feel that their fighter has the fight under control. There's no yelling. There's no desperation in their corner. Marco's looking at his... And we have a little bit less than 1 minute left. Ruas has to get busy here. He's got to really try and steal this round.
Stephen, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ruas look for the legendary Marco Ruas heel hook or sit for a submission here. I think he has some points to make up on the judges' cards.
Problem being the sweat factor.
Yes, you're right.
Don't work well with all this sweat.
It's very, very tough.
Roman going to go for that armbar again.
See an armbar attempt, exactly, Stephen. Roman once again staying very active from the bottom position, going from an open to a closed guard with his right foot in the hip, controlling the distance, throwing some short chopping blows to the head of Ruas.
Yeah, I like when a fighter's on the bottom in the guard and throws the uppercut. All those little tapping blows to the ears. And there it is, the end of the fight. A real technical match. A great show of sportsmanship there. Marco and Maurice, even though they fought, are friends. There actually is no rivalry whatsoever between the two camps. Judges will tally up the scores. It was a great technical fight. There's Royberg. I think what we saw in that fight was a lot of maturity by both fighters. If you go out there in a rage, in a hurry, you make a mistake, you get submitted, or you get knocked out. They both know that. Coming from Maurice Smith and Marco Ruas, all that experience, they learn from that experience. That way they make less mistakes.
And they also learn composure and they learn positions. And positioning is such a key factor in these type of matchups. When you work the positions and you've been in them before, it doesn't surprise you.
Okay, here we go. A little replay action. Nice high kick attempt by Royberg. And Royberg goes with a right front kick, cracked him right on the jaw. Beautiful shot. Ruas tries to return a low kick and comes in. And Royberg's got his hands down, tries another high kick. Ruas spins, and Royberg lands that left hook. Now Royberg's got a little bit of a guillotine attempt, real loose. Just taking his time. Nice left hook by Ruas. That rocked him. That was a good shot right on the chin. You know, Royberg can take a shot.
I think both these fighters took a couple of shots here. Great fight. Great fight. Very technical fight, Stephen.
Yeah. Both men look like they could go for another round. We've seen fighters in World Extreme Fighting fight 1 or 2 rounds that look like they're ready to quit. These men look like they could go another 2-3 rounds.
Again, as you parlayed to earlier, Stephen, I think that's just a factor of their trainers and their coaching.
Yeah. And here we have the judges tallying up they're checking it twice. It has to be a little bit on the close side because there was no clear-cut dominance by one man or another. Although I feel that Royberg did land the cleaner shots and did do the better reversals. Who else did go? Okay, we're going to go to an
3-minute overtime.
Okay, so the fight has been declared a draw, and we go to the 3-minute overtime. I think that's fair, don't you guys?
Sure, absolutely.
Most definitely. Both fighters are still looking very fresh, and I still believe have a point to prove. So I'm very excited about the overtime here that we're going into.
It's a good decision by our judges.
Stephen, as you're aware, in World Extreme Fighting, there are no draws. There is always a winner. We're on a 10-point must system here. We always work into overtime, and we're always looking for a winner of the bout.
Yeah, there will not be a draw after this round. And here we have Todd Fredrickson imploring the crowd to get into it. I don't think they need that, but he's a real character up there. Nice low kick attempt. Ruas blocks. Ruas blocks again. I think we're going to see some stand-up this time. Ruas going for that squeeze takedown. This time, Mr. Royberg is defending the takedown.
Royberg was able to turn Ruas, putting his back into the cage there. And I think if Roman can keep that position, you'll see a lot of foot stomps as well as knees possibly to the midsection as well as to the thighs.
Yeah, but you see the knee to the thigh there by Royberg. Small little chopping knees, not going to really do a lot, but eventually they're going to give you a Charlie horse, especially if you wind up. Okay, now this is a whole new fight because at a draw, the previous 3 rounds do not count. This round is the only round that counts. The winner of this round wins the fight.
Tim, do you feel that plays to perhaps Rodrigo Ruas's advantage?
Yes, I actually do, Wade. Good point. As we see Ruas take the back once again of Roman. But to get back to the answer to your question, Wade, Ruas seemed to actually have struggled a little bit with Roman a little bit on the ground and on the feet earlier in the 3 previous rounds. So I believe this is a fresh start for Ruas, and hopefully we'll be able to see him establish more of his game plan against Roman.
I think in a fight where both fighters really respect each other and possibly have no animosity, oh, nice knee, have no animosity, sometimes it leads to more of a technical fight, whereas if there's some bad blood, they go out there and try and knock each other. There's that Ruas takedown. Nice little takedown.
I tell you, Rodrigo really needs to get busy from here. He needs to establish some points, perhaps establish a side mount and work some strikes from here to get some scoring going on the judges' cards.
And I believe he heard you, Wade, because it looks like he did establish a side mount position there as we look on at the 2 fighters.
We got less than 1 minute left in the overtime round. Nice knee, knee.
Beautiful knee combination as Roman works a headlock and a left hook to the face.
Not a lot of power in those knees, but enough to score points. Looks good to a judge.
Well, I tell you, Stephen, Rodrigo Ruas's arm was in between the knee and his head there, so he did a nice job of countering it, although it still plays impact on your head.
Yes, it does.
30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds.
Believe me, I know.
One right here.
What's interesting, Stephen, is I watched the corner of Roman Royberg between the rounds and before the overtime round, and they worked on this position. They were working on this position for the majority of the round. So he obviously wanted Royberg to employ a different strategy for this type of
and 10 seconds left in the fight.
10 seconds.
It's going to be a hard one to score. Oh, I think he just won the round.
That might have won the fight. You're exactly right,
Stephen. He just won the round.
Beautiful left-right combination.
Good job, guys.
Royberg pulled it out with a nice little 2-3 punch flurry there. Right hand cracked Ruas on the jaw. Ruas took the shot. Didn't do a great deal of damage, but nonetheless, judges score points. Those were points. That might have just done it. We will go now to the judges to the final decision for the overtime round, and they go back and re-congratulate the opposing corner.
Stephen, do you think that last second flurry by Roitberg was reminiscent of a Maurice Smith round-stealing flurry?
Yeah. Like I said before, like father, like son, like teacher, like student. I think Maurice is proud of his student. Okay, now here we go. Roitberg is on the bottom, and Roitberg just scoots right out and pops back up. A beautiful escape from the side mount.
This
And
is
a
right
nice-
to those knees.
Bottom.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Nice little knees there.
Here's the
Okay,
last closing flurry.
and both right hands landed, but the left
Ladies and
hooks.
gentlemen, we have a decision before we go on. How about a big warm round of applause for both these fighters right here? The overtime was scored. Judge number 1 scored the bout 10-10 draw. Judge number 2 scored the bout 10-9 huas. Judge number 3 scored the bout 10-10 draw. It's a majority draw.
We have a
majority
draw.
draw.
That's right, Tim. We have a draw. Could have gone with Roitberg on that, but I don't have a problem with the draw. Marco doesn't seem too happy.
I tell you, Stephen, in my understanding of the rules, there's not a draw. I think a majority draw actually is a decision in World Extreme Fighting. We'll have to check with the judges and the event promoter, Jamie Levine, and find out what the actual ruling is there.
And our next fight coming up. And here he comes. Mr. Hibbler. Eric Hibbler from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 5'8", 156 pounds. He's got an interesting record of 0-1. He's glad to be back in World Extreme Fighting. He's a strong puncher, very aggressive, and he's got a deep bag of tricks.
Stephen, Eric Hibbler is actually an instructor of mixed martial arts. If you ask him, he'll tell you he's self-styled. He suffered a quick knockout against a relatively inexperienced Marco Marcera in World Extreme Fighting 7 in our last event. This is definitely redemption for him. Looking forward to see what he has.
Mike Cordo.
Michael Cordoza, I think that's a misprint. He's not 6'2" and 250. I think he's more about 5'5" and 150, but I'm sure he'd appreciate the compliment. Perhaps he fights that size. Mike Cordoza is the former World Extreme Fighting lightweight champion. Lost his title to Ken Allen. He's got excellent leg locks. He's in great shape, and he's an opportunist. He'll win the fight if you give him the advantage.
So it's going to be Hibbler versus Cordova. And let's throw it up to T.J. Thompson for the introduction. Tail of the tape. We got Cordoza, 23 years old, 5'4", 150 pounds with a 64-inch reach. Where Hibbler is 36 years old, that's 13 years, 5'8", 156 pounds with a 68.5-inch reach. And now let's go to our very dapper T.J. Thompson for the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee for the next bout will be President of the North American Grappling Association, Mr. Kip Kolar. And ladies and gentlemen, fighting to my left in the black trunks trimmed in white. Professional fighting record of 3 wins against only 1 loss. He's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Please welcome Eric Hibbler. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent tonight in the white trunks trimmed in black. A professional fighting record of 9 wins against only 1 loss from Miami, Florida, Mike Cordoza. On Kip Kolar's command.
Kip Kolar looks glad to be there. These two gentlemen are ready to roll.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's fight!
Hitler's coming out, circling around. Southpaw position. Cardoza, they're taking their time here, feeling each other out. Nice low kick. A little bit of a shoot on the kick by Cardoza. Pulls guard. Hibbler's got a half base high.
To reflect on something that Eric Hibbler said the other day at the pre-fight interviews, he said that in his spare time he enjoys cross-training and teaching girls and women in the sport and self-defense. But I believe he probably had to put that activity to the side and train with some more gamed opponents.
Now that was a great kick from the bottom by Cardoza.
Cardoza going back to his back, looking to, looks like he's looking some kind of maybe a leg lock. Back to half guard or half mount for Eric Hibbler.
Cardoza is dangerous from the bottom. He can throw the up kick real good.
Stephen, he's a very, very strong fighter, Cardoza. I've seen him fight probably 6 to 8 times, and I've trained with him. He's very, very dangerous on the ground, very dangerous. And as I said before, he's an opportunist. Nice straight right hand by Hibbler there into the face of Cardoza.
Cardoza's got a real hard shoot there. Pulls him down into a slow double leg into the guard. Eric Hibbler trains with Eric Paulson, who is the world light heavyweight Shooto champion.
Nice look at Mike Cardoza working from the guard of Eric Hibbler.
Both these men are coming off a loss, so I think they really want to work to get into the winner's circle. So I think they're going to work aggressively.
Mike Cardoza's loss came to Ken Allen in World Extreme Fighting 6, which was a title fight. Went 3 rounds plus an overtime and was a judge's split decision. Very, very close fight. So I'm sure Cardoza's looking to get back on top of his game here.
Also in attendance tonight is, to the top middle of your screen, celebrity photographer Susumu Nagao, who's right behind our gentleman reloading his camera. He's well known in Japan, one of the top photographers in the martial art business, Susumu Nagao. And directly to the left is Marcelo Alonso of Otatami Magazine in Brazil. Either man has done a lot of damage. I would have to say Cardoza has controlled the match to some extent, though.
Cardoza landed an effective kick from the bottom and also got the takedown. So interesting to see what happens here.
Cardoza went for the kick, moved back. I think with mixed martial arts, a lot of the stand-up fighting, they tend to load up their techniques. Okay, we have 30 seconds left. Oh, nice right hook.
Nice combination.
Nice right hook by Hibbler.
Cardoza willingly goes to his back as he doesn't want to stand up with Eric Hibbler.
What Hibbler needs to do is just step straight back and turn it back into a stand fight.
I tell you, I've seen Mike Cardoza employ this technique before. He'll stand up top. If he doesn't like the way it's going, he'll drop right to the guard and try to get the coax the fighter in.
And there we go. End of round 1. Hibbler made a little bit of a comeback. Don't know if it was enough to steal the round. But we have Mike Cardoza.
I tell you, both fighters look to be in excellent shape here. Neither fighter seems to be breathing too hard.
Okay, and here's the up kick from Mike Cardoza. He's scooting back and then crack. Oh, that was beautiful. He threw the left roundhouse kick to the leg, then the right roundhouse kick to the head. Very impressive. Then he pulls guard again. Actually pulled them out. Okay, Hibbler comes in. Oh, it was a nice left hand by Cardoza, but Hibbler comes back, throws a couple punches, and down goes Cardoza with a little front kick.
Round 2.
Here we go, round 2. Hibbler versus Cardoza.
Nice single leg shot by Cardozo.
He's got that leg. Hibbler's working out.
Beautiful takedown, strong takedown.
But Hibbler's almost got back on that. But Cardozo was not doing anything.
Moving, guys.
Hibbler doing a nice job off that takedown and pulling Cardozo right into his guard. Yeah, Hibbler's guard is very well versed.
For a man who's got his own style, he does have a deep bag of tricks, as he professed.
We see Cardozo, passing over the leg of Hibbler, trying to establish a side mount or half mount position for himself.
If Cardozo could get any leverage, well, it's too late now, but he could have thrown that left knee. But Hibbler probably saw the technique coming. Got back in the guard.
I tell you, Stephen, in the previous fights that I've seen Cardozo in, he's not much of a striker from the ground. He's more of a submission stylist. I'd look for him to work for a submission and probably miss plenty of opportunities for the strike here.
It's a little bit of a slow pace here. I think the crowd might get a little antsy until some action happens. Both men are trying to neutralize the other.
Gotta work, I'm gonna break you.
And a referee, Kip Kohler. Oh, nice kicks up, trying to up kick him there. Barely missed with a double up kick.
Cardozo passing the guard beautifully, textbook style.
Tim, what are the fighters looking for there?
Actually, at this point here, what Cardozo wants to do is establish that strong side mount position where he'll have a number of possibilities of where he can either mount or he could actually finish the position, or excuse me, the fight from that side mount position as well. We have different key lock attacks as well as knee strikes to the ribs and to the bodies, as well as, you know, he could throw the one leg over and mount Eric Hibbler and be able to rain punches down on Hibbler, as well as in the fight with numerous types of arm locks. As for Eric Hibbler, he wants to try to regain guard and try to get back to a guard position and contain Cardozo a little bit by keeping him in the center there, as we see a beautiful reversal.
That was a nice reversal. Hammerlock around the head, spun around. Now he's on top. It's the first time we've really seen Hibbler on top in this round.
Yeah, we'll get a good look at Cardozo's guard here.
1 minute, keep working.
That's what Hibbler can do. You see Cardozo trying those little chopping kicks. Those were first put out into the consciousness of the world by Royce Gracie when he fought in the UFC some years back.
Hold that fence, Eric. I'm going to break you.
There we see a butterfly guard by Cardozo on the bottom, trying to stretch out Eric Hibbler.
Cardozo has experience in the cage. He's going to look to turn his head away from there. I think that was his attempt with that butterfly guard to create some space and get himself turned towards back towards the center of the ring.
Oh, he's going up high for that. He's going for a spin. Now,
15 seconds.
it's a slow-paced match. Judges will have their work cut out for them. Close to the end of round 2, 5 seconds left. A lot of strategy, a lot of grappling, jockeying for position on the ground. Interesting.
What do you think, Tim? Any thoughts on the first 2 rounds so far?
I think this was an excellent matchup. I see Cardozo, as you mentioned, being the better positioning fighter. He's been able to establish better positions and control the fight a little bit better on the ground with different positions
Trying to stay out of the way of the main
and
camera.
trying to close the fight. As far as Eric Hibbler, he seems to be a little bit more active on the ground as far as throwing the strikes, trying to take Cardozo out of his game plan. So going into round 3, I look for one fighter trying to dominate one way or the other.
Okay, here we go, and Hibbler's on the bottom, and Hibbler just does a great twisting reversal here. He uses his hips, and he spins his body, pushes his hips up, and bucks his hips, and nice reversal into Cardozo's guard. Textbook. Here we go, round 3, and they're in action already. You know, Hibbler has got a little bit of a guillotine choke, but Cardoza is not going to get caught in this because Hibbler doesn't have it fully cinched underneath.
Hibbler needs to have his left hand in there as well, grabbing each wrist and extending his guard, extending the legs out, stretching the head away from the body of Cardoza to make that guillotine
I think Cardoza
check.
might be in a little bit of trouble, even though he has his arm in there. He's having to deal with this. Hibbler's got to make sure not to squeeze too much energy away. And okay, he gave it up.
Excellent point, Stephen. I think that's exactly what you have to be careful with there. That move is either going to work or it isn't, and you can waste a lot of energy trying to close it out.
Exactly. So here we are back. Eric Hibbler on the bottom. Guard
Keep working,
around
guys.
Mike Cardoza.
I tell you, Stephen, the crowd does definitely not seem to favor these type of technical ground-based fights. You can hear some boos resounding out of the crowd. This is a technical fight, and it's going to be one for the judges, to say the least.
Well, no holds barred fighting when it came to America in 1993. Oh, beautiful sweep! Eric Hibbler swept him flat over on his back, and Eric Hibbler back up. That was fantastic. So you never know in mixed martial arts what's going to happen. Eric Hibbler's trying to land a kick. Cardoza's down back. Okay, Eric Hibbler wants him to stand up. Beautiful move. They want to see punches. They want to see kicks. They want to see a little bit more action than the guard and working for position in a straight jiu-jitsu match. Okay, Cardoza's got him close, and down they go, same position. As I was saying before, when no holds barred fighting first came to America in 1993, there were no rounds. It was just a straight blast for as long as it went. One of the reasons I believe why they instituted the rounds is to avoid having to restart the fighters into a standing position. When you restart them into a standing position, it gives them a chance to land punches and kicks, which in many ways, in America at least, they consider that more of an action-packed fight than for people working on the ground, such as this in a jiu-jitsu or a shoot wrestling match.
I agree with you, Stephen. There seems to be
a nice little flurry there. Hibbler has got that nice sweep from the bottom. And I would have thought, it looks like that leg's exposed. He's got to make sure he doesn't get heel hooked. He's got right up. Nice right hand by Hibbler. Hibbler's really turning up the heat here. 1 minute left in the last round. Hibbler has really turned up the heat a notch in the last 2 minutes. A couple beautiful sweeps from the bottom. A couple good punches. He's landing more significant blows, and he does seem more confident on his feet. Shoot off the low kick by Hibbler. Cardoza shoots for the takedown.
Nice sprawl by Eric Hibbler.
Working the underhook on the one side, not enough. Cardoza squeezes it back into the guard. Hibbler on the bottom.
20 seconds, guys. Keep working. Finish strong.
Okay, we got 15 seconds left.
both fighters appear to just be relaxing and catching a wind here. Hibbler stayed busier even on the ground, in my estimation.
I would have to say that this was more of a safe fight. Okay, and that's the end of the round.
Let's go, get up.
Third and final round over. This was more of a safe fight, I think, for both gentlemen. I respect the fact that they would fight defensively, but you get into the discussion of whether fighting is for sport or for entertainment. The crowd pays money. They want to see action, but sometimes when you do an action-packed fight, you leave yourself open for a loss. Some of the greatest fighters that are action-packed, for example, Tank Abbott or Gary Goodrich, do lose half their fights, but they're very popular with the crowd.
Wade, what are the judges looking for here? As we saw Cardoza have more of a game plan as far as using his positioning, where Eric Hibbler was more of a striker on the ground. So how do you think what would sway the judges one way or the other?
I think that the fact that one fighter stays busy on the ground and on the top, as we take a look at the replay here.
And here's that Eric Hibbler's on the bottom. Nice. That was a straight arm elevator. A straight arm elevator. Cardoza didn't even have time to work on an armbar from that position. And here's a nice right hand by Hibbler. Another one misses. But he is throwing the punches. He is initiating the attacks. It's going to really factor in on the judging. It's going to be a close call for the judges.
And Tim, I think exactly as Steven touched on there, that's exactly what the judges are looking for. They're looking for the fighter who doesn't necessarily score the takedown, but who stays busy, who scores the punches.
There will be a 3-minute overtime.
And it appears as though this fight was as close as we thought, as the judges sent it to overtime.
Another fight goes to overtime.
And I believe another good call as well by the judges. Don't you believe, Steven?
Absolutely. Really good call. Both men neutralized each other. One man or another did not establish dominance. So we go to the final 3-minute overtime. There will be a decision in this one. Or at least we hope there will be, unlike the Ruas Reutberg fight. Let's hope they get busy. And here they go. Final round, overtime. Pushes him down, kicks him.
Great defense of Cardoza's tackle there by Eric Hibbler. You see Cardoza working some kicks from his back there, working an open guard, taunting Eric Hibbler to come down.
We've seen this position in Japanese events quite a bit, but many of the Japanese fighters have a way of dealing with it. Looks like Eric Hibbler just backs up and turns it into a stand-up fight again, which is fine.
Well, Mike Cardoza motioned to Hibbler to come into his guard and at least get it to the mat.
He didn't come into the guard that time. He almost came into a beautiful roundhouse kick to the head. He's got that leg off. Nice strikes by Hibbler. He's getting busy here. Ground and pound time. Ground and pound. Pops back up. Hibbler's in total control of this round.
I'd have to agree with you, Steven.
He's totally taking control. I would wonder if Cardoza is losing his conditioning at this point.
I see the possibility of a mount position here as Cardoza goes back to his full guard.
I think what Hibbler needs to do is not play the ground game here with Cardoza, because it's just a slow game that he may or may not win. When he works from the top and standing, he lands the better strikes and he does get the better positions, although he's got a good sweep from the bottom.
He does seem to play well from the guard on the bottom, but I agree with you, Steven. On the top, he simply has gotten busy on Mike Cardoza. Cardoza's been perfectly content to lay on his back and invite him into the guard. Hibbler's told the ref, bring him back up. Let's fight here.
Because the previous 3 rounds don't factor into this, we have 1 minute left in the overtime. I would have to say that Cardoza has got to get busy. We got Hibbler with a pretty serious neck crank here. Cardoza's got to get busy.
At this point, Eric Hibbler is cranking on the neck of Mike Cardoza, trying to open his legs. And sufficient attempt.
Almost.
Hibbler is able to pull out of it.
Hibbler's on his way here. Just can't make a mistake.
This is a very dangerous position when you have a fighter on his back and a fighter on his feet. You can't be in the middle. You either have to be on top of the fighter or...
Nice knee by Hibbler. That landed right on the button. That might have cut him.
20 seconds, guys, 20 seconds.
With 20 seconds left in the overtime period, I don't think a cut's going to determine the outcome of the fight here, though, Steven.
I don't think so. I think you're right. That was a great knee. I would have to say that Hibbler's got this one in the bag. 5 seconds left. Hibbler just needs to coast at this point. No possible way to get submitted. And there it is. You know, gentlemen, that final round made up in some ways for the slow first 3 rounds.
I'd agree. Absolutely, Steven.
Look at Hibbler playing to the crowd. Well, he got them excited. They were a little lukewarm early on in the fight, but after that solid finish.
Nice display of sportsmanship by both fighters. Mike Cardoza goes over to shake the hand of Eric Hibbler's corner.
And now, let's go up to TJ Thompson. Actually, he's rounding up the judges' scorecards. And let's go up to TJ Thompson for the final decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a decision. The winner in the black trunks from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Eric Hibler.
Wade and Steven, your thoughts on this victory for Eric Hibler?
This victory, Eric Hibler was 0-1, and that means you lose your pro debut. That's not a good sign, but he's excited. Look at him, he's bouncing around the ring. A very affable gentleman. When we interviewed him yesterday, he was one of the funnier interviews. He had some pretty animated things to say. I think this victory really launches his confidence. It helps his students. Let's go to a replay. Hibler here, Cardoza goes for the shoot. Hibler neutralizes and cracks that knee. That was a hard knee to the head of Cardoza. Good thing it didn't knock him out. Cardoza did take the shot, can take a shot. There's our man right there, Eric Hibler. Woo, he's pumped. Now that's good showmanship. Now let's go to our next fight. David Dodd from Phoenix, Arizona versus George Allen from Atlanta, Georgia. This is going to be a good one. And here comes David Dodd. 6'2", 199 pounds. We'll talk about that later, Wade. Record of 10-3. Phoenix, Arizona.
As you noted or parlayed to earlier, Stephen, David Dodd cutting down to an amazing 199 pounds. He's a submission specialist, and I'll bet you his conditioning is top-notch, having made 199 pounds. That's a big cut for a well-muscled 6'2" man.
Absolutely. And his opponent, George Allen.
And we hear the hometown crowd roar as George Allen, being a native of the state of Georgia here.
6'2", 250 pounds. 6-4 is his record. He is the hometown favorite. And let's, he's a pro boxer. He's a wrestler. He's a hometown boy.
I tell you, Stephen, he doesn't appear to be 250 pounds.
No, he doesn't.
I think that may be a best friend. At weigh-ins, I believe he weighed between 193 and 195. He was right in the 195 range.
And let's go to the tail of the tape. George Allen. Playing to the crowd. Okay, let's send it up to TJ Thompson for the formal introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fighter on my left wearing the black trunks trimmed in white. Professional fighting record of 8 wins against only 5 losses from Mesa, Arizona. Please welcome David Dodd. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent in the black trunks from Atlanta, Georgia, George Allen. On Gibbs command.
I believe Allen arrived today to fight.
Let's fight!
But George Allen, being a local Atlanta native,
Goes for that kick, and David Dodd just takes him right down up to, well, there's a wild match already, folks. A lot of tumbling right.
David Dodd being very, very aggressive, looking for an early crucifix there.
He's got him almost.
There we see a crucifix move again, but a reversal out of it by George Allen.
Stephen, David Dodd is a U.S. Marine Corps judo champion. He's well accomplished on his feet, although I don't...
Oh, big right hand by Dodd. He dropped him to one knee. That would have been a knockdown in boxing. Boy, that was a great right hand.
I tell you, and coming into this fight, we were told George Allen had the heavy hands, but at the early go of it, David Dodd appears to have gotten the better.
That caught him right on the chin.
Speaking with David Dodd before the fight as well at the pre-fight interviews, he did mention that he was working on his boxing skills very hard there and back home. So not surprised to see him connect with that good shot that he did.
Well, if he lands many more shots like this fight will be over quick. Oh, nice little move there. Dodd's going for that single leg, and he gets it. Into the side mount. He's got his back.
Okay, George Allen giving his back. I'm not really sure why he did it that quick.
Bad move, bad move. Dodd's got at least one leg hook sunk in.
Dodd's a little high here. He needs to improve his position if he's going to work towards a rear naked choke. If he's not careful, Kip Kohler will stand him up from this position. I don't think that'll happen, though.
You're right, Wade. A little too high for the rear naked, but he could step over with his right leg onto the other side of the head for the arm bar because they are so high. And he does have that arm and forearm hooked of George Allen. So good setup there for an arm lock.
I tell you, Tim, what maybe going through David Dodd's mind here is if he rolls that arm lock, he's rolling into the cage, and you never know what the outcome of hitting that wall is going to be. So
looks like George is moving, and he might be moving right into the choke. He moved right into the choke. He better spin out.
This is a bad position for George Allen to be in. Although I tell you, David Dodd's got to be very careful not to cross his feet here. If he crosses his feet and George Allen loops over, he'll break an ankle.
George is defending well, but Dodd is the aggressor here.
David Dodd with 13 professional fights and a UFC veteran. He's certainly accomplished. I wouldn't be surprised to see him wait this out a little bit for the prime opportunity. But one of the things that a lot of these fighters usually do to secure this naked choke is come under the nose to get the head elevated. You'll see a lot of the Brazilian fighters will come right under the nose, applying pressure upwards, opening up the throat, and then come underneath with the other hand, working for the rear naked choke. I have a feeling that technique would work here if Dodd couldn't floor it.
George is getting those hips up high, which is good, but he's got to try and get facing. Nice move. Almost. Oh, no. He's in a bad position here.
David Dodd looks as though he's going to try to transition into an arm bar here.
It's going to be hard up against the fence like that, though.
But he slips in the rear naked.
He looks like he's got it almost. George has got to spin out. He's got to spin out.
That's deep. That's sunk right there. His right arm is sunk into the choke.
Looks like he may have it, even if he does just pull it straight back. Nope, he's out.
Nope, he's out.
There it is. Oh, it's going to be hard to get out of that.
It's sunk in pretty deep.
It's going to be hard to get out of that. George.
I tell you, George Allen's chin may be dug down just a little bit deep here for Dodd to finish it with that choke.
George escaped again, but I don't think it's going to. George is moving and going for the arm bar. George spins out. Oh, tough position. I don't want to see George get hurt in this.
That's it.
The tap. 4 minutes.
David Dodd, very, very aggressive, wins by submission. David Dodd at 199 pounds. All that work looks like it paid off, Steven.
He came out on fire, Tim.
I think he found his weight.
I think he did. He was ripped. You know, George Allen gave him a tough go on the ground. He almost got out. But once he got his back, he never relented in going for the submission.
Dodd was very patient.
Absolutely.
Dodd's a patient fighter, and with his experience, you know, it was just a matter of time for him waiting on the position on the back there.
David Dodd showing some good cross-training skills.
And let's throw it to T.J. Thompson.
Official time, 3 minutes, 59 seconds, round number 1. Armbar submission from Mesa, Arizona, David Dodd.
Beautiful victory for Dodd. He looks great at 199.
He sure does.
And here we go. Dodd shoots in with a jab. George Allen moves back, and there's that right hand. That was a clean knockdown. And George was in trouble. And here we go. He's sinking. He's got one leg hook in and tries to work his way out. He's going for the arm bar, and he pulls it back. George tries to spin out, but he's got the upside down arm bar, and he just turns it up until George finally gives it up. There he is, very elated. David Dodd.
Ian Jarvis, the trainer and manager for David Dodd, as well as a few other fighters out of Arizona, leans over to congratulate him.
Okay, and here we go, our next fight. Jorge Pereira from Rio de Janeiro versus Matt Hughes from Charleston, Illinois. This fight is going to be interesting, gentlemen. We have a top Brazilian against one of the top Americans in his weight.
Yes, we do, Steven.
George Pereira, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stylist, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 6 feet, 179 pounds, record 9-1. His only loss was to Jose Pele Landi, who is the main event tonight, and that was on a cut. He didn't tap.
As I recall, Stephen, I don't remember the official time of that, but that was a long, drawn-out war between these two guys. He's a great submission. He's an old-school submission guy. I tell you, he's got a lot of heart, and he's quite a character. We had a chance to talk to him at the weigh-ins, and he's something else, isn't he, Stephen?
Yes, he is. And coming into the octagon now, Matt Hughes.
Along with his twin brother, Mark.
That's a tough one. I wonder if they exchange fighting, or one guy fights and the other guy stays out. Matt Hughes won the best of the best Extreme Challenge tournament, and he's from Charleston, Illinois, 5'8", 176 pounds, record of 14-1. That's a good record.
Matt Hughes also had an impressive win in the last UFC.
And let's go to the tail of the tape. He's got incredible strength, benches 450 pounds. Whoa, and he's a great wrestler and a heavy hitter.
At 176 pounds, that's over twice his body weight. I tell you, he looked very impressive against Val Ignatov in the UFC. He laid some leather on Ignatov for the entire fight.
And here we got the tail of the tape. Pereira, 35 years old, 9 years older than Hughes, 6 feet tall, 176 pounds, 74-inch reach. Matt Hughes, 26, 5'8", 176 pounds, 70.5 inches. And we're going to throw it up to TJ Thompson for the introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next bout. The fighter to my left in the blue trunks, trimmed in light blue. Hailing from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, please welcome Jorge Pereira. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent tonight. In the black trunks, trimmed in white. From Charlestown, Illinois, Matt Hughes.
Matt Hughes, he's a very accomplished fighter. At 14-1, he brings a strong record in here. He's very experienced. I tell you, this guy is ready to rock and roll tonight.
Yeah, looks like George is ready too, and here they go, folks. Pereira has been training in boxing with Helio Santana, but he's originally trained by Rickson Gracie.
Matt Hughes has a nice takedown from here.
Looks like he's got it halfway in. Pereira's almost working the guard already. He's almost just giving up the takedown. Pulling guard, trying to go high with the legs.
Hughes waits and drops both their body weights onto the canvas. About a minute into the first round. Round 1 of 3 6-minute rounds. So a step up in the time frames here for this fight.
With a 3-minute overtime if it should go to a dispute. I expect to see Matt pull up and start to unleash some bombs at any moment.
Matt's certainly not afraid to strike from the ground or from the guard. So I agree with you, Stephen. I think he's probably going to rear up here and look for some strikes.
Looks like he's getting ready. He's pushing up, but Pereira is dangerous.
You see as Matt stands to throw strikes, Pereira also puts a foot in the hip.
Big time punches by Matt Hughes. Pereira got up slow. Matt Hughes capitalized, dropped the punch.
Back to the close guard for Jorge Pereira.
I tell you, it's amazing how quickly the tide can turn in a fight. Split-second decision by Jorge to finally get up. Gets up a little too slow. Hughes lands a nice punch right to the head, and right back to the mat we go.
And Jorge has spit out his mouthpiece. Not a wise move. He's pounding away with a hammer fist. Without the mouthpiece, that's a dangerous situation. I've seen fighters lose teeth in these kind of fights. With the mouthpiece.
Jorge's doing a nice job of trying to turn himself off his cage. Hughes, with his experience and his hips, is trying to keep Jorge up against the fence.
Like I said before, Hughes is unleashing those bombs. George is pushing away, backing back up.
Jorge looks awful winded after getting back up. You know, he gets up and his hands were down. I'm sure that toll took a lot out of, you know, or excuse me, Matt's a very strong and aggressive fighter, and to have that type of fighter laying on top of you, pressing the fight, is very exhausting.
Looks like Hughes is stalking him, a wild jab thrown. Jorge just moves back.
Jorge takes a lunge with a jab at Hughes, unsuccessful. Hughes counters and drives him back into the cage.
And he pulls guard. He's got it guillotined, but
Look for a big takedown.
big
here.
slam, right? He's going to go to the center of the ring. I wouldn't be surprised. He's going for that center. Oh, yeah! A big slam.
I tell you, Stephen, the strategy here that most people may not know is the center of this ring is the firmest point as there's a cross member there. That's a good thought by Matt Hughes to lift Jorge to the air, take him to the center of the mat, and look for the knockout on the takedown, as we saw Ken Shamrock do against Igor Zinoviev in a previous no-holds-barred event.
Yeah, now Matt is almost got the mount. He could be working that right knee to George's head. But George is neutralizing that to a certain extent. It was a big takedown. There's a body slam.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Stephen. Was a takedown pronunciated.
Fortunately,
and enunciated.
Exactly.
And exclamated.
Fortunately, he landed on his back rather than his head.
You're right. I tell you, if Hughes
A la Val Ignatov.
yes. If Hughes could have got him turned to have the impact a little more towards Jorge's shoulders and head, that's more punishing than any blow you can offer with your hand or a foot.
It might have been a knockout.
Here we see Jorge working back into the guard, which is exactly what any fighter that would be in the side mount on the bottom would want to do.
I tell you, Tim, Hughes does not seem particularly concerned when he's in the guard, or doesn't seem to make attempts to pass the guard. He seems to fit the strike from here, as he's doing effectively.
Now that right hand landed. The first two missed, but he's landing punches now.
Hughes passes to the half guard based on those strikes, Stephen.
That first one landed right on the floor, but the second one missed grazing, but the third one landed right on the button. There's that reverse elbow. There's another elbow. It's another stomp elbow. He's going to stomp the elbow again. He's going to drop that elbow straight down, extend the arm, and drop the elbow on the nose or the eye. Oh!
Jorge is a very talented fighter, but I just believe Matt is just too awful strong for him.
I tell you, do I see some blood there? Is there a cut that's opened up here somewhere?
There is a cut. The elbow, another big right hand. You know, Matt is just pounding him. Oh, big round for Matt Hughes. George is having problems getting up. George is very bloody. George is really in bad shape here. The fight may be over. That looks like that's it.
I tell you, Stephen, the Brazilians have a never say die attitude. I'd be surprised if Pereira turned in the corner. I think that threw in the towel, or his corner threw in the towel. I think this would be a doctor's stoppage if it does stop here. What do you think?
He was having problems getting up. He was dazed. It might be up to the discretion of the doctor. When a fighter is acting, he won't get up, and he's walking around like he doesn't want to continue. It hasn't been determined yet. They're moving him over to his corner. They're examining the cuts. He is cut. Matt Hughes was putting a world-class beating on him. But this fight was, in a way, reminiscent of when Don Frye fought Omri Bitech in another no-holds-barred event. Omri Bitech had position occasionally, but Don Frye would drop that short elbow over and over and then started loading up on punches, and just, unfortunately, it was not a good night for the jiu-jitsu man. Okay, now here's the body slam. Matt has got him. He walks him over to the center of the ring and slams him on the ground. That's enough to knock the wind out of someone. And here Matt just gets busy with the strikes. He just throws those big bombs. This guy can hit.
He's an excellent striker from the ground. And I tell you, he gets through hitting you with his fist, he goes to the elbow.
That was ground and pound at its best. And it looks like, not sure if the fight is over. And let's go to T.J. Thompson.
Round number one. The winner by doctor stoppage, Matt Hughes.
That was a tremendous victory for Matt Hughes. He beat a guy that had a 9-1 Vale Tudo record who was trained by Rickson Gracie. Now let's go to a post-fight interview with George Brazil at ringside.
Matt, congratulations at the pre-fight interview. You told me you're going to ground and pound, and that's exactly what you did. Are you happy with that?
Very happy with what came out. Very happy with the match. Wish he didn't back away so much, but that's the way it was. I'm very satisfied.
What's coming next?
I have no idea what comes next. I have to talk. My promoter, Marty Cox, takes care of all my business, so whatever he says.
Congratulations. Stephen, back to you.
Okay, a tremendous victory by Matt Hughes. He can only go up from here.
I tell you, that was impressive. I'm very, very impressed, Stephen. If there was any question as to his skill against a true jiu-jitsu stylist, which I don't know that there was, he certainly solved it here tonight and answered the question for us.
Phil Johns from Canton, Illinois versus Jens Pulver from Boise, Idaho. Jens Pulver, 5'7", 156 pounds. He's got 15 fights under his belt. 13, 1-1 is his record.
Jens Pulver was recently representing the Shamrock 2000 camp, and he's comes from a very strong wrestling background, has very good boxing skills, as displayed in his first UFC victory, and he's very difficult to take down. Back to Jens, he made the relocation from the Shamrock 2000 camp to Iowa with Pat Miletich.
As we get a good look at Phil Johns approaching the ring, Phil Johns, 5'2", 160 pounds, a 15-7 record out of Canton, Illinois. Phil Johns, a 4-time All-American, 1-time national champion wrestler. There for his wrestling skills. He has some good strikes, and he's very experienced with 22 fights under his belt. Stephen, two accomplished fighters here tonight for the tail of the tape.
Okay, the tail of the tape. Johns is 31 years old. He's 5'2". He's 160 pounds. He's 62-inch reach. Pulver is 24. He's 5'7", 156 pounds, 68-inch reach. And let's go up to the dapper T.J. Thompson.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of World Extreme Fighting, we'd like to send a big thank you out to the crowd tonight, making this one of the most successful events ever. How about a big warm round of applause for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen? This extended play, long night of action. Final bout of the evening, the fighter to my left, wearing the black full contact fighter trunks, with a professional fighting record of 13 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. From Boise, Idaho, please welcome Jens Pulver. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent tonight in the black trunks, fighting out of Canton, Illinois, with a 25-2 professional fighting record, please welcome Phil Jones. On Kid Kohler's command.
Phil Johns is a school teacher.
See if he's able to take Jens Pulver to school here tonight.
That would be an interesting way to phrase it. Oh, I think this is going to be a barn burner here.
Phil Johns, I think the shortest competitor in this event tonight at 5'2" tall.
Seems to have a pretty decent, good roundhouse kick to the leg.
Dynamite comes in small packages, Wade.
There you go, Tim.
Speaking of dynamite, I think he just got dynamited.
I think you're absolutely correct, and I hope Phil Johns is okay, because that was a devastating punch. Devastating punch.
Devastating. He looks okay. He seemed like he walked right into it.
Jens Pulver exudes a little after his quick victory. Phil Johns appears to be okay. He's being tended to by 5 or 6 attendees in the ring. I think he's probably okay.
Now that was a shot.
That was a heck of a punch. I'm sure we have that on replay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just got clocked out. I mean, I hope he's okay.
There's a replay.
And it's a big left hand.
I tell you, I believe Phil Johns was out there for a moment. He just seemed to collapse much like the opponent of Brad Kohler in the last UFC, just sort of collapsed right to the mat.
Caught him right on the chin, walking right into it. His forward motion was always down. Okay, let's go to T.J. Thompson at ringside for the...
Ladies and gentlemen, fastest bout of the evening, 33 seconds, knockout, Jens